Jennifer Brooks realized this 3 months after moving into number 47, when she tried to count how many moving trucks she'd seen leave the neighborhood. The answer was 0. Plenty came in. She'd watched at least 6 families arrive since May, but none ever left. When she mentioned this to her husband Todd over dinner, he'd laughed it off. "People love it here, Jen. Why would they leave? Best school district in the state, low crime, great property values. We're lucky we got in." Lucky. That word would haunt her. Meadowbrook Circle was perfect. Too perfect. 23 houses arranged in a flawless cul-de-sac, each lawn precisely manicured, each car freshly washed, each family eerily content. The neighborhood had a Facebook group that was disturbingly active. Daily posts about bake sales, block parties, reminders to put trash cans exactly 3 feet from the curb on Tuesday evenings. There was even a points system for neighborhood participation that Jennifer didn't understand, but everyone else seemed to take deadly seriously. Their welcome basket had arrived the day they moved in, delivered by Diane Mercer from number 52. Diane had perfect blonde hair, perfect white teeth, and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "We're so glad you're here," she'd said, her voice sugary and strange. "You're going to love it. Everyone does, eventually." That last word had lodged itself in Jennifer's brain like a splinter. The first neighborhood meeting was mandatory. Diane had made that clear when she'd hand-delivered the invitation. Jennifer and Todd arrived at the community center at exactly 7 p.m. to find all 22 other families already seated in a perfect circle. The lights were fluorescent and harsh. Everyone was smiling. "Welcome, Brooks family." A man stood at the center, Richard Chen from number 38, the neighborhood president. "We're thrilled to have you join our little community. Now, let's go over the rules." The rules were extensive. Lawns mowed every Saturday morning between 8 and 10 a.m., no exceptions. Garage doors closed by 6 p.m. daily. Children's toys put away by sunset. No loud music, no bright exterior lights, and no unauthorized visitors staying more than 3 consecutive nights. Attendance at monthly meetings was mandatory. Participation in neighborhood events was mandatory. The points system was explained in excruciating detail. Families earned points for compliance and lost them for violations. Families below a certain threshold faced corrective measures. "What kind of corrective measures?" Todd asked, laughing nervously. The room went silent. Every head turned to stare at them with those same 2 bright smiles. "You won't need to worry about that," Richard said smoothly. "As long as you follow the rules, everything will be wonderful, won't it, everyone?" "Wonderful," the room echoed in perfect unison. Jennifer felt Todd's hand tighten on her knee. They left the meeting in silence, but that night, lying in bed, she whispered, "Something's wrong here." "It's just suburbia," Todd murmured, already half asleep. "HOAs are always weird. We'll adjust." But Jennifer couldn't adjust. She couldn't stop noticing things, like how every family had exactly 2 children, every single one. The Chens, 2 kids. The Mercers, 2 kids. The Patels, the Johnsons, the Rodriguezes, all 2 kids, all between the ages of 7 and 12. Jennifer and Todd only had 1 daughter, 8-year-old Maya, and she'd caught neighbors staring at their family with expressions that looked almost disappointed. Or how everyone's trash was identical. She'd peeked into the bins on collection day. Every family had the same brand of cereal boxes, the same type of milk cartons, the same everything, right down to the same amount of garbage. It was as if they were all following a script. Or how quiet it was. 23 families with 46 children, and the neighborhood was silent as a cemetery. No one played outside, no one shouted. Even the dogs, every family had a golden retriever, never barked. The breaking point came on a Tuesday in late August. Jennifer had taken Maya to the neighborhood park, another mandatory activity. Families were required to use the park at least twice weekly. They were the only ones there until the Mercer family arrived. Diane, her husband Paul, and their two perfect children, Tyler and Emma. "Maya!" Emma called out, her voice oddly flat. "Come play with us." Jennifer watched her daughter run towards the other children, but something made her follow. She got close enough to hear Emma whisper to Maya, "You need to tell your mom to follow the rules better. Your family only has 73 points. That's really, really bad." Maya's face went pale. "What happens if we don't get more points?" Tyler leaned in, and Jennifer saw something in his eyes that made her blood run cold. Not malice, but warning. The Hendersons only had 62 points. Now there's a new family in number 31. "Where did the Hendersons go?" Maya whispered. "They didn't go anywhere. They're still here, under their loan. That's why their grass is the greenest on the street." Jennifer grabbed Maya's hand and ran. She ran all the way home, locked every door, closed every blind. Todd came home to find her frantic, barely coherent, insisting they had to leave immediately. "We can't just leave," Todd said, trying to calm her. "We signed a contract, the mortgage." "I don't care about the mortgage. Those people are insane. They're talking about bodies under lawns, Todd. We have to go." But that night, when they tried to load suitcases into the car, every porch light on the street turned on simultaneously. Neighbors emerged from their houses like synchronized puppets, standing on their lawns, watching in complete silence. Richard Chen walked up their driveway, that familiar smile plastered on his face. "Going somewhere?" "We're leaving," Jennifer said, her voice shaking. "You can't stop us." "Of course we can't," Richard agreed pleasantly. "But you signed the HOA agreement. Page 47, Clause 16. Early departure without board approval results in a penalty of $500,000. Plus, you'd lose your deposit, your equity, everything. And where would you go? Your credit would be destroyed. You'd be blacklisted from every decent neighborhood in America. Is that what you want for Maya?" Todd's face went gray. Jennifer knew what he was thinking. They'd put everything into this house, every penny of their savings. They were trapped. "Just follow the rules," Richard continued, his voice gentle and terrible. "It's not hard. Everyone else manages. Look how happy they are." Jennifer looked at the neighbors standing silent vigil in their yards. Their smiles were identical, painted on like masks, but their eyes were screaming. The next morning, a letter appeared in their mailbox. Their current point total, 68. Below the threshold, a home inspection was scheduled for the following week to identify areas for improvement. Jennifer spent that week in a haze of terror and compliance. She mowed the lawn at precisely 8 a.m. Saturday. She put away Maya's toys by sunset. She smiled at neighbors and attended the mandatory coffee hour. She earned back 3 points. The home inspection was conducted by Diane Mercer and 2 other women Jennifer barely knew. They moved through the house with clipboards, marking violations. A toy car under the couch, -2 points. Dishes in the sink, -1 point. A window blind not fully raised, -1 point. By the time they finished, the Brooks family had 61 points. "I'm sorry," Diane said, and for just a moment she saw genuine anguish in her eyes. "You're lovely people, but rules are rules. The corrective process begins tonight." "What does that mean?" Jennifer demanded. "What are you going to do to us?" Diane's smile returned, dead and automatic. "You'll see. Everyone does. Eventually." That night, Jennifer didn't sleep. She sat by the window with a baseball bat, watching the street. At 2 a.m., she saw them. Every family in the neighborhood emerging from their houses in pajamas, walking in a silent procession towards number 47. They surrounded the house, standing shoulder to shoulder, forming an unbroken circle. Then they began to hum. It was a low, vibrating sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The windows began to rattle. The walls began to shake. Maya started screaming in her room. Todd stumbled out of bed disoriented, his nose bleeding.
"Make it stop!" Jennifer shrieked, but the humming only grew louder. She ran to Maya's room and found her daughter rigid in bed, eyes wide open but unseeing, humming along with the crowd outside. Todd collapsed in the hallway, humming too, blood now streaming from his nose and ears. Jennifer ran outside, screaming at the neighbors to stop, but they didn't acknowledge her. They just kept humming, their faces blank, their eyes focused on something she couldn't see. The sound was inside her head now, burrowing into her brain, trying to make her join them, trying to make her comply. She fell to her knees on the lawn and felt the grass beneath her fingers. It was soft, too soft, and there was something underneath, shapes, contours that felt horribly like bones. The Hendersons, the family everyone said had moved away. They were here, right here, feeding the grass, keeping it green.